to another trip report looking at mescaline tonight, something I have never done but would like to someday. This one is called Depth and Detail, a mescaline trip report uploaded to arrowwood.org on January 20th, 2022 by a user by the name of D-Rock. Or maybe Drock. Here's me coming into it. I've done a lot of psychedelics. Heroic doses of mushrooms, DMT, and tried a bunch of others. That and just a bunch of other drugs, but that's beside the point. I'm adventurous and like to experience things firsthand, not just hear about them. I love how they can catalyze creativity and just do a lot of good things for a person. I bought a handful of San Pedro cacti. After 2 failed trips on them, mescaline found me. I had gotten a surprise day off work and had a good 8 hours free before working a second job at night. Being a bit anxious and feeling positive premonitions, I went for it. It was a little transparent capsule which contained a really tiny amount of the stuff. I emptied it into a spoon, mixed it with a few drops of water, then took it orally. It tasted of a similar bitterness to the San Pedro. This was at 11:40 a.m. I had breakfast at 7 that morning and a small piece of bread at the time of ingestion, but not eat until 6 o'clock dinner. My stomach was quite empty upon ingestion. Initially, it felt like I had just taken a really ripping, strong line of cocaine, as in, I was bouncing around with mad energy within the first 5 minutes of consumption. Perhaps due to excitement of mescaline? Nothing else happened much in the first half an hour but slight queasiness. Under the supervision/accompaniment of my girlfriend, she drove us from my house, where I ate it, over to hers. We opened some post-Christmas presents from her family, after which I started playing guitar, at which point things started ramping up a bit. I'm a pretty fluent guitarist, it's my best second language. I felt more able to focus in on my fingers, more nimble and acute with thinking through my fingers, speaking through tones, and improvising a musical conversation. The sound of the strings grew rich and detailed. The pulsing guitar body sounded big enough to seem like I was inside it. The multifarious tones and dynamicism of it all was incredible. I found my voice through a guitar. My girlfriend sat silently beside me as I played. Whether my playing was as intriguing to her as it was to me, I don't know, but she completely dropped everything she was doing. She's usually a kind of frazzled busybody, to tune in. I started playing with new tunings and driving some new thoughts out of my fingers. After a bit of that, I walked out of her room to make some food with her in the kitchen. She has 2 housemates, one of which was around. I knew she had done mushrooms before, but I didn't know her that well, so I was just straight with her and told her I took mescaline. She was interested and wanted to hear updates along the way. This made me feel good and welcome, but after I spent some time zoning in on making some food, my girlfriend and her talked a lot. The room started pulsing and glowing a bit, swelling a bit. So as soon as I finished cooking, I took my food out into the living room adjacent to the kitchen and sat cross-legged. This was when the visuals and acute stomach aching began. I couldn't eat, just sat there while the wood grain of the wall paneling took on this surreal depth, like a topography map. I could see new colors within the wood that combined to form, or so it seemed, the normal red-brownish tone of the walls. It was profound, all the spectrum of color was everywhere. The ceiling and walls and lights started slipping around and wavering, showing their inherent changingness and impermanence. It felt just like mushrooms, but more colorful and less particled. I felt like being alone and meditating, but felt really bad for bailing out on this day off we all had together, but it had to happen. So I bid the housemate farewell, and my girlfriend drove me back to my house, dropped me off with my plate full of uneaten food I had cooked, and gave me a kiss. I went inside my house, sat down on my drum set, I'm very fluent on the drums as well, and say it's tied with guitar as my second tongue, played for a while with more passion than normal. I felt very alive. The visuals had gone away mostly after the travel between houses, probably due to how cold and rainy it was outside. It probably just overwhelmed the smallish dose that I had taken. So I was kicking ass on the drums, but my interest in them waned really quickly. My timing and synchronization and creativity were there, but the drums were so limited, lacking the range of tones that could be had with the voice and the guitar. So off of the drum throne and on with the guitar strap. I just purchased a handheld stereo portable digital recorder a few days prior, so I was super excited to do some stream of consciousness recording with a new device. It turned out to be a way better fit. I pressed record on the device and just went to town. thinking on my feet, spraying out whatever came to mind through my mouth and fingers in a synchronization and harmonization with the guitar. Normally I'm quite introverted, but I've been pressing myself to work on being outwardly creative and productive in that way as my life's work, as I used to be in high school. In the last 7 years since, work and other things have taken precedence, making a living. Good results. Really good results. I was singing in colors and painting with sounds, singing a symphony of atoms and colorful energy, a sweet exploding dream that is you and me. I would start improvising with a word and not even know what the word was going to be, but halfway in I would figure it out and I just ended up letting the words kind of form themselves, as if I was a medium for the ghost of a song to come through. And it was great, like a Ouija board of sorts. After a good 15-minute session of that, which was probably 2 hours after ingestion, I felt like just doing some writing. I wrote about 6 pages. In writing, I felt linguistically focused and opened. I could think freely, access thoughts and words more easily than normal. That and I felt much more perceptive. At this point, most of the visual or sensory distortion/waviness had left, and I was mostly just on mental overdrive. I could look in any direction, and there was just so much more detail that I was able to take in. Things were just more graphic, as if my mental inhibitors that normally block out most of the world were shut down and I could take it all in. The sitting was profound, looking, listening, breathing. It helped me to see how relevant art is, taking the time to create something beautiful and share it with others out of love. My girlfriend texted me, "What is the greatest taste experience you can think of, one with the quality that all food would strive for?" To which I responded, "Any from the heart and hands of a loving human. It's the thought that counts. That trumps all." At one point when I started writing, I had this mental imagery of light exploding out of the top of my spine, out my neck and the back and top of my head. I could feel this too. It was this light, clear, free, tensionless feeling centrally located behind me. It occurred to me that hallucinogens are good for, at least, this reason. They cause ripples and waves in one's consciousness, bring elasticity and fluidity around stale conceptions and irrelevant mental ideals and hang-ups. They bring motion to stillness. It allows one to see the mangled bird's nest of feathery life for the raw and changing thing it is, and to adapt, mentally and spiritually, to the occasion, the moment. It helped me open and understand my humanity, the human needs and uniqueness. Brought me to a better acceptance of myself and what I need to do to be comfortable. I am an artist. I need to be able to freak out musically for my mental health. The air was tingling. The phrase of the day? Why not? I find myself usually in such debilitating self-critique that I can stop myself from doing a lot of things. What I realized with some clarity is that what gurus mean about looking within instead of without is for this reason. That maybe you should do some considering of if you are serving your purpose fully. Maybe you have something within you that you need to bring to the table, so as to live within your inclination, your authentic skill set, so as to feel useful and needed. At about 4:30 or 5, I was lying down trying to sleep with my girlfriend before going to work that night, and things had pretty much gone back to baseline. But at one point I started breathing uncontrollably heavy for a few seconds, and felt like my heart was slowing down, which was spooky, though I do have a family history of heart troubles. It is now the afternoon the day after. I still feel a bit mentally lubricated, and I'm still excited about what happened and hope to try it again sometime. Beautiful. I have a dream of going to the desert. I don't care which one, but it's gotta be a desert, and it's gotta be at night, and I gotta have mescaline in my system. And there's gotta be stars in that sky. Oh, I have never... The starriest sky I can ever remember seeing was... I once went out to a field with a very, very close friend of mine I've known for most of my life during a meteor shower, and we had a DMT cart, and just like sitting there, lying back, watching the stars shoot across the sky, watching the stars that are static in the sky make trails as I move my head around, watching the sky become a shade of pink. Sorry if my chair is like making noises, there's a cat on my lap. And that was also the first time I can remember in my life, maybe I've seen it as a kid, but the first time I've ever really properly noticed the band of the Milky Way. And you can just like if I don't know if you've ever seen it before. Some people probably never have. I mean, apparently I hadn't until then. But if you go out to a place that has just a small enough amount of light pollution, and you look up at the sky in the right spot, you can see like the space dust from the Milky Way disk, and it was like I don't know if the human eyeballs and their distance from each other is like I don't know if like there's something in us that can somehow detect the depth of stars that are fucking like millions of light years away. But I swear I looked up at that sky and I could feel that those bodies, those celestial bodies, were like just over there. Like they didn't look like a two-dimensional overlay over the sky. It wasn't a skybox. Like I felt the depth. And you have no fucking idea how badly I wanted to go out into a desert in the middle of the night where there's no lights anywhere around for miles and just eat some cacti that will make me see some shit. I don't know when that's gonna happen. I've never done mescaline before, like I said in the intro, but that's what I want out of it. I don't have that much to say about this actual trip report. I'm glad that this person was able to develop more confidence in their musical abilities. I really need to mess around with musical instruments more often while I'm on psychedelics. I've messed around a little bit, but I'm sure there's a lot of potential there. I should like try composing music on acid or something someday. I know the exact kind of flow state this person is talking about. I've gotten there typically sober, or maybe with some weed in me, I don't know. But yeah, it's great when you're just, something just clicks and you got the instrument in your hands and everything is just working and you're like, holy shit, what am I doing right now? This is, whoa, am I doing this right now? Who's doing this right now? At least my hands, it's great. I love being a musician. I'm trying to think if I have any warnings about this. I'm pretty sure it's just like the same warnings as all their psychedelics, which is like, don't take it with lithium, don't take it with anything that reduces the seizure threshold, and don't take too much unless you know what you're doing, otherwise you may have a living nightmare on your hands. I'm not sure how often mescaline trips go bad. It's not like the most popular psychedelic, so I don't know. I've never had a phenethylamine, however you pronounce it, before, which is what mescaline is. It's a different class from the tryptamine type psychedelics, such as mushrooms and LSD and DMT, which is notable because I'm on a medication that inhibits the effects of tryptamine class psychedelics, but apparently not phenethylamines, such as 2CB and mescaline. Never done 2CB before either. I don't know. Genuinely, guys, I don't even know how people get their hands on this shit. I don't know a guy. I don't fucking listen. I don't do this stuff that often. It's when the opportunity presents itself. But I will trip on mescaline in the desert one day, through whatever means necessary. I swear on my life that will happen before I die. Well, I guess if I'm swearing on my life and I don't do it before I die, then I'm dead anyway, so what's the point in swearing on my life for the... Anyway, I think that's the end of the video. How's it going, Blackie? You purring? This cat's name is Blackie. I didn't name him. This was named by an older individual. He is purring, I am petting him, I am scrunching his face. Good night, everyone. Be as happy as this cat.